No nanny could cure the millionaire's cancer daughter until the new black maid did the unbelievable. The mansion was filled with silence, the kind of silence that echoed louder than any sound. For all its marble floors, glittering chandeliers, and priceless paintings, it lacked the one thing money couldn't buy: laughter. At the center of it all was a little girl named Emily, just 8 years old. She had once been a bundle of energy, the kind of child who ran barefoot in the garden, whose giggles filled every corridor. But that was before the diagnosis, before the hospital visits, the endless medicines, and the cruel treatment that left her frail and bald. Now she spent most of her days curled up on the couch in the playroom, dressed in her pink Barbie t-shirt and soft blue pants. Her toy kitchen and dolls sitting untouched nearby. Her smile, when it appeared at all, was faint, a ghost of the bright joy she used to share. Her father, a man of immense wealth and power, had tried everything. Specialists from around the world had been flown in. The most advanced hospitals opened their doors for her, and when he thought perhaps care at home would help, he hired nanny after nanny. But each one failed. They came with degrees, certificates, and polite smiles. Yet none could reach Emily's heart. She refused their games, ignored their songs, and turned her face away from their forced cheer. One by one they left, defeated. Then came Grace. She wasn't hired as a nanny. Not at first. She came as a maid, a black woman in her 40s, wearing her crisp black dress, white apron, and hair pulled back neatly. She carried cleaning buckets and wore yellow gloves, expected only to dust the shelves and mop the floors. But from the moment she saw Emily sitting in the corner, small and pale with hollow eyes, she noticed something others hadn't. She didn't see a patient. She saw a little girl aching to be seen as herself. Grace began quietly. She never pushed toys into Emily's lap or tried to force conversation. She simply sat nearby while polishing furniture, humming softly to herself. Sometimes gospel tunes, sometimes old lullabies. Slowly, Emily's eyes began to follow her. One day, Grace caught Emily staring at the wig she wore under her headscarf. Grace smiled gently and whispered, "You know, sometimes we wear things not because we need them, but because they make us feel pretty." Emily tilted her head, curiosity flickering for the first time in weeks. From then on, their bond grew. Grace discovered Emily loved to draw. She would bring scraps of paper and crayons from the kitchen drawers, sitting on the floor beside her. After finishing chores, Emily began sketching dolls, princesses, and sometimes herself, but always with long flowing hair. Grace's heart ached every time she saw it. "Why do you draw yourself like this?" Grace asked softly. One afternoon, Emily's small fingers clutched the crayon tighter, "Because that's who I was and who I want to be again. Everyone stares now. They look at me like I'm sick, not like I'm Emily." Her voice cracked as she looked away. "Even Papa cries when he thinks I don't see. No nanny can fix that." The weight of her words pressed heavy on Grace's chest. She knelt closer, brushing Emily's tiny hand with her gloved one. "Baby girl, no one can take Emily away. Not sickness, not doctors, not even this." She gently touched the top of Emily's bald head. "Hair doesn't make you beautiful. Your smile does." But Emily shook her head fiercely, tears filling her eyes. "I want to feel normal again, just once, like the girl in my drawings." That night, Grace couldn't sleep. She lay awake in her small maid's room, staring at the ceiling. She had seen children laugh through hardship, and she had seen them lose their spirit. And she knew the cruel truth. Once a child gave up hope, no medicine in the world could save them. The next day, Grace arrived in the playroom carrying something behind her back. Emily sat on the rug, her toy unicorn beside her, her crayons scattered but untouched. She looked up with a tired expression until she saw Grace's grin. "What are you hiding?" Emily asked softly. For a long moment, the father stood frozen in the doorway. His heart, which had grown used to despair, stumbled inside his chest. The sound of his daughter's laughter filled the room, a sound he thought he might never hear again. Emily's small hands held onto the strands of the blonde wig, her bald head hidden beneath it, her cheeks glowing pink from giggles. She looked up at her father, her eyes sparkling. "Papa, look at me," she shouted, twirling in clumsy circles. "I have hair again. Don't I look like the princess in my drawings?" The man's throat tightened, his lips parted, but no words came. For months he had spent millions on doctors, flown her to clinics, paid for treatments, and the finest nannies. Yet none of them had given him this, his daughter's joy. Grace, the maid, slowly rose to her feet, her apron brushing against her knees. She looked nervous now, unsure if she had crossed some invisible line. Her hands gripped the wig, ready to defend herself if he lashed out. "Sir," she said quietly, her voice steady but humble. "I wasn't trying to mock her. She just wanted to feel like herself again. She begged for it. I thought maybe if she laughed." The father stepped forward, his polished shoes silent against the carpet. He stopped just before them, his gaze falling from the crooked wig to his daughter's beaming face. Then his eyes lifted to Grace. For the first time, he truly saw her not as just a maid in uniform, but as the person who had reached his daughter's heart when no one else could. Emily tugged on his sleeve. "Papa, did you hear?" Grace said, "I'm Princess Emily." Her voice cracked with joy, but also with desperation, desperate for him to see her not as sick, not as fragile, but as his little girl again. Tears stung his eyes. He dropped to his knees and pulled her into his arms, wig and all. "You're more than a princess," he whispered, his voice breaking. "You're the bravest girl in the world." Emily laughed again, clutching his neck. Grace turned away slightly, giving them a moment, but her chest tightened with emotion. For weeks she had seen Emily retreat deeper into sadness, watched her spirit dim, feared she might lose her will to fight. All she had done was follow her heart to treat the girl not like a patient or a problem, but like a child who still deserved magic. The father finally looked up at her, tears streaming down his face. "I don't understand," he admitted. "I gave her everything. Why? Why couldn't I reach her?" Grace stepped closer, her voice gentle. "Because she didn't need money, sir. She didn't need the best nannies or the fanciest doctors to make her feel alive. She needed someone to see her, to remind her she's still Emily, still a little girl who wants to laugh, to pretend to dream." Her words struck him harder than any truth he had heard in years. He had been so busy trying to cure his daughter that he had forgotten to simply love her the way she longed for. Emily pulled back, her small hands patting the wig proudly. "Papa, can Grace stay for me? She's the only one who knows how to make me happy." The millionaire looked at the maid, his chest heavy with both shame and gratitude. Slowly, he nodded. "She's not going anywhere." His voice deepened, full of conviction. "From this day forward, she's part of this family. Not as a servant, but as the one who gave me back my daughter's smile." Grace's eyes filled with tears, but she bowed her head humbly. "Thank you, sir. That's all I wanted, for her to feel alive again." The three of them stayed there in the playroom, surrounded by dolls, crayons, and the fragile magic of a child's laughter. The father's hand rested on his daughter's shoulder. The maid's hand on her other side, as though the girl's small body was cradled by love itself. For the first time in months, the mansion was no longer silent. It was alive with giggles, soft tears, and the quiet truth that healing sometimes came not through medicine, but through love, loyalty, and the courage to give a child back her hope. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more emotional, dramatic, and unexpected tales. And let us know in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? We love hearing from all of you. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep watching.